3, 2, 1. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Prince Dimitri, and I would like to welcome you to my channel, A Bit of Everything, where we are talking about, thinking about, and being about a bit of everything. So let's go ahead and get started with today's video. Today, I already know that this video is going to probably not set too well with some of you guys, might leave a bad taste in your mouth, whatever the fuck else. I can understand it because the title is quite out there, and I get that, you know, some of you guys are probably fans, some of you guys are probably great supporters and different things like that, but nonetheless, what I have to say is nothing more than just an observation, and I want to address it. It's really that simple. I'm not a hater, I'm not in opposition, I'm not anyone who's looking for clout or anything like that. I am just simply stating my observations, presenting you guys with the information, and if you see a reflection of Deen in that, that's fine. If you see a reflection of me in that, that's fine. If you see a reflection of yourself, that is fine. What matters is us drawing the necessary conclusions to help ourselves and to help those around us, because that is equally important and probably even more so than the skills and the fame that they have, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with today's video. I am talking about how Deen the Great is soft. Now, hear me out really quick, because one thing I'm not going to be commenting on is his skills, okay? Deen the Great is skilled, okay? It's really that simple. I will probably never hop in the ring with this guy because, you know, he's fast, he's quick, all this kind of stuff. His skills are there. So I'm not about to comment on that. I am only commenting on character. And in reality, you know, even while I'm talking about Deen the Great, a lot of times I'm going to be just talking to myself, because in reality, we can see a reflection of ourselves in other people. And that's why it's necessary to address these things and nip them in the bud. Because in reality, if we don't get to some of our bad habits, bad characteristics, and bad traits right now, if we don't get to those things, guess what? They're going to get to us. Oh, shit. They're going to get to us, okay? Because in reality, everything goes full circle. Everything. It goes full circle. So if we don't get to those things before they get to us, a lot of times those things don't wait to come up until we are super successful. I mean, we've seen it consistently. We've seen it with various people out there who have become famous, made it out, did what they needed to do, and then some shit pop off, and all of a sudden something crazy happened to them where they're not as famous and different things like that, or whatever the fuck else. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but what matters at the end of the day is your character and how you carry yourself. Your character is how you carry yourself, okay? So Deen the Great is tall. Yes, I said it. I really did. Deen the Great is soft, but this is only based off of my observations. We're going to be talking about the fight against SupaHotFire. If you don't know who SupaHotFire is, this is him.
Because I'm super hot, boy.
That's fucking hilarious. So anyways, this guy, he was famous for that and became a meme, you know, and different things like that. But he actually, in real life, ruined his career in less than like 2 seconds, because he decided to delete his entire track record of content, comedy, support, videos, all that shit. He decided to delete it all off of his platform because he was under the impression that his comedy career was going to take flight and he was going to soar like Kevin Hart, and the opposite ended up taking place. So he became extremely irrelevant. But now in recent years, he's been trying to, you know, pick up the pieces, pick up the scraps, and try to become relevant again. And this fight against Deen the Great is definitely probably going to do a little bit of something for his notoriety. And then we're going to be talking about this situation with one of his friends, or I would like to say one of his ex-friends, named Prince DK. We're going to go over that. But, you know, there are some allegations out against Deen the Great regarding his friend and you know, Deen the Great's oh shit, I can't really say that. Genuineness. There we go. Okay. And the genuineness behind his very first video on his channel. So we'll go over that really quick. But first, I wanted to bring up this YouTuber named the Wade Concept. And the Wade Concept, I love this guy. I've been looking at him. I actually started following him and subscribed to him prior to ever knowing who Deen the Great ever was. Okay, so this guy, he's been talking about, you know, he talks about various boxers and fights and different things like that, breaks them down literally to the logistics, and throws out predictions and so on and so forth. And so far, a lot of his stuff has been quite accurate. I've enjoyed, looking into it. With me just now getting into boxing and stuff like that, is definitely something that, that's helped me understand, what it's all about. So definitely love watching this guy. And so he talks about a lot of famous fighters. He talks about Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Mayweather, and all those folks out there. And so with Deen the Great now coming up as a YouTube boxer and a professional fighter, he decided to make a video on Deen the Great and his content. And so one of the things that he mentioned in the video is the fact that it's probably not a good idea to be fighting on concrete. That's fair. And he also mentions how fighting on professionals is probably not the best thing for your credibility. That's also fair. And thirdly, he talked about if you take yourself if you take yourself seriously, then you should ensure that those around you take yourself seriously, and that you wouldn't put yourself in these positions where you can end up with a career-ending injury as a result of boxing on concrete. Also fair. So what does Deen the Great decide to do in response? This is what he says, folks. He says, STFU, shut the fuck up. It's sad how you will say any and do anything, say and do anything for some views. Laughing emoji, laughing emoji. Now, I can only laugh at this because this is just ridiculous. You really think that this dude is just doing this for clicks and views? Really? Why is it? I mean, like, I definitely feel like we're in such a generation, especially nowadays, where nobody can say anything like that's negative about you without it being about, oh, well, you just want to do it for clout. Like, come on, bro. And I believe that this guy, the Wade concept, all he wants to do is just get the information out there and share his opinion. That's what people do. This is what YouTube is all about. You know what I mean? Making content. But in reality, I would understand if he was just clowning you and saying, oh, no, he's not a good fighter. He's weak. He's a piece of shit. All this kind of stuff. Then I'll be like, yeah, he's just probably doing that for attention. But he's actually presenting you with legitimate information that could probably save your life or someone else's. But instead of you actually addressing the criticism, you decide to think that this guy is just an opposition, wanting to start a useless beef, because those are beefy words, okay? Those are very, very beefy words. And you really think that this dude really cares about what the fuck you're saying? You didn't add anything of value to the conversation. And if you as a man, if you can't take criticism, you need to sit your ass down and grow some thick skin, because this is what this is all about. Once you put yourself in the limelight, once you put yourself out there, you are now susceptible to all sorts of criticism, including people who's just going to clown you just because they want to clown you. People can be supporting you and still clown you, because that's just what this is all about. One thing you have to understand, especially in the boxing game, is that you don't just need physical thick skin. You got to have that mentality as well. One thing I've noticed is that, even though I don't really have much experience with boxing, is that fighting it with your emotions ain't the best thing. You got to fight controlled. But that also includes when you're dealing with people in the public. You got to be controlled. You got to control yourself and be able to actually address what is actually being addressed. No, he's not just trying to get views. He's legitimately trying to save your life and ensure that you don't do something stupid that will end your career. And then secondly, fighting unprofessional fighters. I understand that your fight against, whether you won or lost against SupaHotFire ain't got shit to do with me. The reality is that SupaHotFire, he held his own against you. He landed a few shots on you, and you know that does not make you look good. Regardless of what you feel about it, regardless of what you think, the reality is it does not make you look good. It does something against your credibility, because SupaHotFire he's super chunky, probably out of shape. He got winded and all this sort of stuff, and you let this dude hit you? You let him hit you? That does something to your credibility when you put yourself in those kinds of situations, to be made a fool and to look a fool. Imagine if you were a professional runner. Imagine if Usain Bolt decided to go against somebody on the streets and lost. Do you know what that's going to do to his credibility? Do you not know what that's going to do to his credibility? Instantaneously. And then you want to say, something like, and I believe this was posted on his story on Instagram, and I got this screenshot from someone, and he says that this is what having fans is like. And basically, and the actual video itself, he states how, when you're winning, that's when people are all on your side. But when you lose, people, back off and now they're against you. Yeah, bro, that's fucking life. Do you not realize that when somebody hits rock bottom, that's literally what that is? When somebody reaches rock bottom, who's there? Ain't no supporters there. Ain't no fans there. When people, especially famous people, hit rock bottom, guess who would be there? If anybody, it's your family and friends, bro. You don't need to put your value in those things. Don't put your value in even in how much money you fucking make, because that shit doesn't matter. If somebody is saying something about you or whatever the fuck else because you lost or won or whatever, stop putting your value in that. And stop saying, oh, well, I have more money than you. I have more this, I have more that. No, who gives a shit? That's not what's going to carry you where you need to go. Your character is what's going to carry you. Yeah, you'll probably have financial stability, but that's going to be temporary if your character is shit. Not saying that your character is, but I'm saying that this is what it can turn into. Because a lot of times when people become famous and they're on the rise and it's happening quick, almost overnight, they start getting beside themselves and they start flaunting their money and their things and their possessions because they think that means you automatically have the upper hand or you automatically have the win in a situation. Nah, bro, that's not everything. I promise you. This is why you hold on to your friends. This is why you hold on to the people who actually support you and who are there for you. But that's why in this Prince DK situation, I'm quite disappointed. I'm quite disappointed that you didn't even address it. You didn't even talk about it. Now, I don't know if you're just kind of like out of sight, out of mind kind of guy where, if you just, once you're done and that's it. But it's quite disappointing if this is all true on top of that. So with the Prince DK situation, this is his friend, his ex-best friend or someone like that who's been there from the beginning. They made a video together at the very, very beginning of Deen the Great's channel. I never saw the fight or whatever the fuck else. So I don't really get to have my opinion about it, but it was boxing versus kickboxing. So what ended up happening in this video is that, considering that Prince DK, as stated in his video and in his statement, is that as a kickboxer, you have more tools. So you'll likely win against a boxer, right? Fair. But as a result, Deen was losing. And this wasn't going to make his channel look good. It wasn't going to make him look good or whatever the fuck else. So Prince DK and Deen the Great decide to conspire that Prince DK is going to take the fall. He decided to pretend like he got knocked out by Deen. And since then, Deen has gone up. And Prince DK was, has been standing by his side, doing what he needs to do to support his friend. Now, one thing you guys have to understand is that this is a classic SpongeBob episode. Y'all literally lived out a SpongeBob episode. If this is all true, this is SpongeBob, bro. Y'all, SpongeBob and Patrick. Okay? I don't know if you guys recall the episode of when Patrick's parents were supposed to be visiting him, visiting Patrick at his home. And Patrick didn't want to appear stupid in front of his parents, so SpongeBob and Patrick conspire together that SpongeBob is going to pretend like to be his stupid friend so that he can look smart in front of his parents. But then, as the episode continued, Patrick began to actually treat and even believe that SpongeBob was actually stupid. And he started to treat him as such. And SpongeBob had enough. He was like, yo, Patrick, I get it. You know, I'm probably acting real good. My skills are probably great, but you're going a little too far with some of the jokes, man. Remember, this is just an act until your parents leave. But no, Patrick began to actually believe that SpongeBob was stupid and started to take advantage of him and take advantage of the attention that he was getting, to where now SpongeBob is being left behind. And this is literally this. If this is actually that something that happened between Dean the Great and his friend, that's literally they lived out a whole SpongeBob episode. And so what happened with Dean the Great and Prince DK is the fact that with Dean the Great still wanting to look like, you know, make it appear like he's on top and that he's, you know, up to, you know, on to greatness, he decided to use the video to present to, you know, other people around him, like, yo, I knocked this dude out right here. And actually making it appear as, and probably even begin to believe that he was actually the one who knocked him out, even though they decided together to do this. And so as a result of Dean the Great doing that, Prince DK told him, yo, that wasn't cool. You know that this video was fake. So please, if you don't mind, just taking the video down. Dean the Great decides not to. So DK decides to delete it himself. And this is the only thing I have to say about Prince DK. Bro, you shouldn't have done that shit. That is not your place. That is not your channel. That wasn't your place to do that. I understand that you're upset about it, but guess what? You made the decision too. Okay? So you have to deal with the consequences of that decision. And if that means you taking the fall again and again and again, it's too fucking bad, bro, because it happens. And we have to hold all of ourselves accountable for those things. But what makes Dean the Great soft in this situation is the fact that he didn't address it. And then on top of that, he allowed it to begin with. Now, I understand y'all was young. So, you know, that's what kids think of. That's what kids do. SpongeBob and Patrick, they're immature. So they're going to do things like that to make them, you know, to help their friends. But in reality, you don't ever do that for another man. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you love your friends, because the moment that a situation is based off of dishonesty, the moment something is based off of fraud, and the moment that something is based off of foolery and deceit and deception, it's bound to fail from the beginning. You guys put yourselves in that situation. Prince DK, you put yourself in that situation. The moment you decided to do something like that, y'all made the decision. So it is what it is, and now you're going to have to pick up the scraps as well. So just as well as Dean needs to be held accountable for what he chose to do, so should you. And you shouldn't have deleted the video. You should have ensured that Dean the Great made a grown man decision, because he's a grown man. 20 years old, whatever the fuck else y'all consider grown. At the end of the day, he's 20 years old. He's old enough to know what he's doing, and he's aware of that shit. And that's what you have to realize. So the whole situation was just weak, bro. Y'all shouldn't have done it. This is why ensuring that you are surrounded by the right people is vital. A person who actually wanted success said no, would have said, no, man, let's keep this real. But sometimes, you know, people are so power hungry. They're so hungry for fame and fortune and clout or whatever the fuck else, that they're willing to do anything for it. So in reality, when Dean the Great made this comment, shut the fuck up. It's sad how you'll say and do anything for some views. Remember when I was telling you guys about a reflection of yourself? He's just talking about himself, because that's something he would do. He would say and do anything for some views, even up to the point that he would be okay with his friend taking the fall for him. Someone that's been by his side. And that's the lesson at the end of the day. And it's not to say that Dean the Great, you know, like I say, he's young. He still has a future. He still has things going for him. And I am rooting for him. We're all rooting for him. Okay? And I want to see this dude succeed. But I'm just, you know, stating my observations. So hopefully you guys can see this as a lesson for some of us. And hopefully Dean can decide to nip some of these traits in the bud so that they don't catch up to them one day. So thank you guys for listening in. I might continue to do this little setup. Honestly, just kind of depends on other things that I decide, and you know, just working out the logistics. I'm gonna have to come up with like a podcast name or something like that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about, you know, this setup, and if it's any good or if you enjoyed it. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Oh, shit.